Well, hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Hollow Knight Silksong. This is the game that we're having a look at today. Now, if you're not across it, I do overviews on this channel where I have a look at the first 2 hours of a game. It's a Steam refund window. Steam says you make up your mind about a game in that 2 hours. I generally agree as a rule. I would say 20 hours in, probably not going to change your mind about how you felt 2 hours in. So just a short punchy video, broad strokes info, keep it around 10 minutes and you can make up your mind on your own. So this is a bit of a pleasant surprise, isn't it? Like, it's not a shadow drop, but it was a very sudden drop. This has probably been one of the most hyped games for a very long time. I think it's been the most wishlisted game on Steam for ages. And so it's up there in the meme material with GTA 6, right? And they basically just announced it at, was it Gamescom? Like a couple of weeks ago? Release date, and off you go, and here we are. So how much can I really add to the conversation? Every man and his dog is playing this and covering this, or at least you'd think they would be. And funnily enough, you know, I follow a lot of indie devs because of this job through like Twitter and that, and so many of them just scrambled to get out of the way of the release date of this game. Everyone's sort of just saying it out loud, basically, that this is going to sweep everyone's interest. Now, if you live under a rock and you don't know anything about Hollow Knight, I'll give you the basics. But I think it's safe to say it's probably one of the most high-profile modern Metroidvania type games. Now, look, I'm not going to inject fuel to the fire and say that it's overhyped, but I feel like it has an outsized amount of hype. You know, overhype implies that it's not a good game and it's undeserving of the hype. I think some select indie games like this, like Undertale, for example, happened to Swiss cheese align and release at the time where things like YouTube Let's Plays were at their absolute primo novelty. We're talking about, you know, the height of, say, PewDiePie, etc., right? And so I feel like creators like that put that handful of games that they played in front of a more mainstream audience, and there you have it. Anyway, look, that's just my working theory. Again, it's nothing against Hollow Knight. I played a bit of the first one and I really enjoyed it. I've only really started playing these sort of Metroidvania type games in the last 10 years or so. Ori and the Blind Forest is still my absolute favorite. But yeah, if you missed all the hubbub or you're not really sure what's going on with Hollow Knight or what makes it such a big deal, I actually think my answer is the one. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing super exceptionally brilliant about it other than it being a really good game and it's solid all round and it gives you that comfortable feedback loop mixed in with some good difficulty. Anyway, Silksong is a continuation of the first one in that it's set in the same universe. Again, I played the opening hours. I'm hooked. I'm enjoying it. The main sort of takeaway is that they've stuck the landing. There's no performance issues or anything like that. It's a solid game. So far, it's very rewarding. If you're from the outside looking in, do I need to play Hollow Knight 1? I would say probably not, to be honest. I never clocked Hollow Knight 1. I put a few hours into it, and I'm just as invested in this one. You're playing as a different character. She's sort of like a warrior hunter. It's not really clear. It's not that she's amnesiac or anything like that. It's just that she's not very forthcoming with information about herself. But the opening is actually quite arresting. You're captured and caged by these what seem to be sort of devout missionary type dudes taking you to a location. And by turn of luck in the opening cutscene, you manage to spring your cage and get out. And it would seem, as you ask these people in this faraway, strange land, that you are, in fact, a displaced warrior lady. She seems to have some sort of affliction, and I think it's mostly just explained away by being in captivity for so long. So they've depowered you to start back up, but she has a bit of humility to realize that, you know, she can't go taking big chunks of the pie. But interestingly, there is a sort of MacGuffin-esque missionary peak in this land that everyone's trying to get to. And her motivation is, well, if they wanted to capture me and take me to this place so badly, I want to find out why. So it's kind of a little refreshing twist on it. It's like, all right, I sprung me prison and I'm going to exactly where you took me because I want to figure out why you bloody took me. I like it. It's a very aggressive front foot way of looking at things and solving the problem head on. My favorite. So that's your setup. You seem to have the same basic starting kit and generally speaking trappings that you'd expect from Hollow Knight. You've got like a self-heal that builds up from landing enough hits on dudes. In the scheme of Metroidvanias, this is much more combat heavy, I would say. Again, I use Ori and the Blind Forest often as my high watermark, and that's a very hardcore, skill-based platforming type game. This is more in the other direction. There is platforming here, but it's more rudimentary, right? Or at least in the early going. It's not like you've got double jumps or dashes or hooks or anything like that. Straight out of the bat, your very basic kit, and it's a means of getting from point A to point B. It's more focused in the combat, and already in these opening hours, I've had probably, I think 2 or 3 boss fights, maybe 4. I think I'm up to maybe my 3rd or 4th now. It's hard to tell. So another thing, over Ori, over the more platforming contemporaries, right? So this is much more combat heavy. Actually, I could use more recent touchstones. I looked at the new Shinobi game. That's much more flashy and ability combo based. This is more bare bones by intent, right? It's not like you have iframes or Souls-like mechanics. You have a pretty basic attack. I found that the fidelity required to pull off things like there's a diagonal, bottom quarter attack, so you can jump in the air, and if you go diagonal down, left or right, you can do like a diagonal jab. And I found in one boss fight in particular, the Bell boss or whatever it was, that fidelity was really needed. So I found myself when this game squeezes me, using the D-pad over the, analog thumbstick, which is really cool actually. Like, that's quite unusual. I don't really opt into the D-pad. So there's a bit of precision there in that combat interplay, specifically with that one move because it's working the diagonals, but it works, and it was kind of cool, kind of refreshing. The soundtrack is excellent, a mix of gloomy underworld, because there's a lot of caves and it deals in the creepy crawly. This game goes from wholesome, charming, cute little like flea characters as this traveling troupe of flea caravans, and I'm helping them find their sidekicks, and they're very, very cute. But then, it doesn't quite go into like gross out, disgusting. The art style doesn't lend itself that way, but you get more into the dare I say, scarier end, creepy dark tunnels, what's lurking around in there. But yeah, look, it's an odd video, right? Because yes, it's an indie game, but it's incredibly high profile and mainstream, and I don't really want to waste your time with anything more than the kind of pertinent information. It seems to be, to me, so far, a worthy successor to Hollow Knight. It's a brilliant game in its own right. Like I said, I had anecdotally my own working theory as to why this has such explosive mainstream uptake, and to me it's actually more amusing how Team Cherry, I believe they're out of Adelaide actually, so they're Australians, but they just leveraged the fact that they are the biggest dog on the block. So much like Ferrari, they have no marketing budget, no nothing. I don't know if they put review keys out for anyone. They basically just said, here's the release date, it's going to go out, we know it's going to sell gangbusters, and they let the product speak for itself. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, you don't need to have played the first game. I checked, I don't think the first one's on sale or anything at the moment, so if you're keen to get in on the zeitgeist, there's no harm in just jumping in. It's only $30. It's incredibly cheap anyway for a, let's say, high profile new release. So I'd say pick it up, go in there feet first, give it a red hot go on Scarlett's recommendation. The Metroidvania back and forth exploring and mapping is incredibly satisfying. The checkpoints are just so far enough that you can be sweating and dying just a little bit too far away, and the whole balance of it is good. It's a sharpened point, and I'm enjoying the mixture of challenge and just general feedback loop. So good on them for sticking the landing. Anyway, team, might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.